Are you ready to ace your PMP exam and become certified in project management? Let's get started with today's video. Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Alvin, also known as Alvin the PM, and I'm a project manager who recently passed my PMP exam, scoring above target in all areas. And on this channel, I'm here to share weekly practice questions and exam strategies to help you become certified in project management. So make sure you subscribe to my channel and smash that like button so you don't miss out on any of my future upcoming videos. Also, don't forget to enroll in my free 5-day Master Your PMP Exam Bootcamp course, where we go over the fundamentals of how to pass your PMP exam the easy way, how to answer every single question correctly, and the basic fundamental concepts in Agile. So if you want to get started on your PMP exam journey the right way, and you want to learn from someone who recently passed the PMP exam above target in all areas, then make sure you sign up for my free course over at alvinthepm.com/bootcamp. Let's get started with question 1. A team member has recently become sick and will not be able to complete the assigned user stories for the current sprint. This may negatively impact the completion of the software demo, which is to be presented to the customer at the end of the sprint. What should the Scrum Master do first? A. Assign the user stories to another team member. B. Escalate the issue to the sponsor for additional resources. C. Collaborate with the product owner to extend the sprint. Or D. Meet with the entire team to discuss the impacted work. If you chose D, then you're correct. This question is asking you what is the very first thing that the project manager should do. Let's review each answer choice. For choice A, remember, the Scrum Master does not assign tasks to the team. In Agile, the development team is self-organizing and self-managing. What that means is that they're the ones who determine the work that will be performed and how that work will be completed. For choice B, does it make any sense that you would immediately escalate to your sponsor for more resources? No, of course not. In real life, if your sponsor was a director or a senior director who is very high up in the organization, you would first want to understand the context of the situation and be more collaborative with the team before even considering going up the chain of command. So choice B is also incorrect. For choice C, does it make sense to extend the sprint? Remember from what I said earlier, you never want to extend a sprint first just because an assigned resource is no longer available to complete the work. Therefore, the best answer must be choice D. The first thing you should do is to first understand the impacted work and to brainstorm with the team how to address this. Let's go on to question 2. Your team is in progress with constructing a new building in the city. The government has released a new law requiring compliance for all building construction and testing activities. What should the project manager do first to handle this situation? A. Update the risk register. B. Submit a change request to update the project scope. C. Review the project management plan. Or D. Communicate these changes to the project sponsor. Pause the video and take the time to think about which answer you think is correct. If you chose C, then you're correct. Let's go over each answer choice so that you can understand how I apply my own logic and problem-solving mindset so you can solve this situational-based question. First things first, focus on what exactly the question is asking you. A new law has been put into place which may negatively impact construction. And as a project manager, what should you do first in this situation? Choice A. Would you first update the risk register? Well, ask yourself, in this question, is it a risk or an issue? In this question, a new law has been instituted requiring more extensive building testing activities. However, since this has already occurred, this is not a risk. Therefore, choice A can be eliminated. Choice B, just because a new law has been passed requiring building construction and testing activities, this does not mean that your current plan needs to change. It's possible that your team may have already included very robust testing, which meets all of the requirements. Submitting a change request would not be the first step to perform. Remember, you want to first understand the scope of the change and what your current plan has. Choice D, you don't want to immediately escalate to the sponsor if you don't yet know how your plan may change. First, research and understand the full context of the situation before you even think about escalating to management and your sponsor. Choice C is the best answer. You don't yet know how this law affects your project scope, and you need to understand what was affected. Before you can take action, you must first review your plan and identify what may need to be updated. Let's go on to question 3. You're leading a project following a predictive approach, and a team member informed you that she will be stepping down as a lead engineer on the project and only offering support when needed. What is the best action to take as a project manager? A. Request a team member to finish all of their assigned tasks. B. Escalate the issue to the project sponsor. C. Update the stakeholder register. Or D. Review and update the stakeholder engagement plan. For this question, remember, you're being asked what is the best action to take. So focus on finding the best answer which follows the best practices of an ideal project manager. Pause the video and we'll review their answer together. If you chose D, then you're correct. You may have been able to narrow down the choices between either choice C or choice D. So here's the breakdown between these two choices. Choice C, the stakeholder register primarily contains detailed information about the stakeholders who are affected by or involved on the project, such as their title, their position, their expectations, their influence level, and their preferred communication method. For choice D, the stakeholder engagement plan outlines the strategy for managing the engagement of the stakeholders. Since the stakeholder will no longer be as involved on the project, her engagement level will also change. Therefore, you will need to update the engagement plan to reflect this. So with that in mind, between choices C and D, choice D is the best answer that's solving the question that's being asked. And by the way, if you're getting a lot of value out of today's video, and to make sure you don't miss out on any of my future upcoming videos to help you pass your PMP exam on your first try, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel and smash that like button. Let's go on to question 4. The vendor has recently had an issue with delivering parts on time to support your production of electronic devices. Unfortunately, this will result in a 2-month delay to your overall schedule. What should you do next as a project manager? A. Replace the vendor. B. Hold risk mitigation workshops with the team. C. Issue a change request to update the schedule baseline. Or D. Collaborate with the vendor and understand the root cause. Similar to the previous questions, this situational-based question is asking you, what should you do next? And did you notice the keyword issue? Remember, anytime the question is asking about an issue or a risk, make sure you can distinguish the difference between these two types of terms. So let's go through each answer choice. For A, does it make any sense to immediately replace the vendor, even though they've already had an on-time delivery performance issues? No, right? Of course you wouldn't immediately fire your vendor, so cross out choice A. For choice B, as we just discussed, this is an issue and not a risk, so holding a risk mitigation workshop doesn't make any sense in the context of this situation, so eliminate choice B. So what about choice C? Should we issue a change request to update the schedule baseline? Again, this actually sounds like a feasible option. However, keep this in mind. Remember my words of advice. Is this truly the very first thing that you would do? No, right? You want to first assess and understand what's going on, what's actually happening in the situation, and what you need to do. So cross out choice C, that is incorrect. Therefore, the best answer has to be choice D, collaborating with the vendor to understand the root cause. This actually makes the most sense because this follows logic and the ideal characteristics of a project manager who works with the team, collaborates with them to move the project continuously forward. Question 5. You are leading a project utilizing a hybrid project management approach, and you are midway through completion of your 3rd sprint. You and your team have identified ways to improve your process for documenting user stories and refining the user backlog. During which event should you incorporate these improvements to your process? A. Closing process. B. Daily sprint. C. Sprint review. Or D. Sprint retrospective. This might seem like a really tricky question because it's very wordy, but again, just because it's very long and convoluted, it doesn't mean that it will be tricky on your exam. This question is actually quite simple in nature. It's asking you which event is the best to improve your process for capturing user stories and to optimize your user backlog. Notice that this says event, which means that choice A, the closing process, can be eliminated. Now, which process in the Agile framework is most closely involved with identifying lessons learned and improving your team's performance? It isn't the daily sprint, because this is the daily huddle where everyone reports on what they achieved yesterday, what they're working on today, and if they're experiencing any kind of roadblocks, so choice B can be crossed out. It isn't the sprint review because the review is focused on presenting a working increment to the product owner and customers for feedback at the end of the sprint. So just by using the process of elimination, we were able to identify that the best answer has to be choice D, the sprint retrospective. Question of the day for you, and leave me a comment down below. How did you score on today's quiz? Rewatch every single step on how I solved each question and see how I applied myself, what I learned to solve each and every single one of the questions in today's video. If you can apply yourself, you will pass your PMP exam in no time. And so I hope you gain a lot of value out of today's video. If you want to see more weekly quizzes and tutorials to help you pass your PMP exam, make sure you subscribe to the channel and smash that like button. Until next time, it's Alvin the PM helping you become certified in project management, and I'll see you in next week's video.